I want to talk about a dream that I'm here to talk about a dream that I had 2016 when I was a child. This dream is about the Knights Templar in New Zealand. Now, I was about 12 or 13, maybe 11 when I had the dream. So to get to the dream, in the dream, I was in, I was in some like kind of tropical like environment. It was in New Zealand. I remember it being the west coast of the North Island. So that's pretty interesting. And I saw this like it was a very sunny day and all that stuff, and I saw this like it was all surrounded by bush. And I saw this sorcerer who I knew he was a sorcerer in the dream who got washed up to shore on some kind of raft and all that, and he was wearing like a black hoodie with like red highlights and stuff around him, and I couldn't see his face. Like his face was completely covered, and then he basically faces the leader of the Knights Templar, who was this guy, this bald dude with a beard, who had a sword, who told him that he wasn't welcome here, and they drove him out. And they were in like a village. In the village, there was like a whole bunch of like houses made out of rocks and like some kind of clearing they had made, like right next to like some jungles and bushes, because basically, like New Zealand used to be covered entirely by like bush, basically by jungles and rainforests and stuff, like kind of similar to the Amazon rainforest actually. And basically, it looked they had like fortifications and stuff and buildings. I think there's some wooden buildings around there, here and there, and it looked like they were like these really big like stone structures, like made out of these really big rocks. It was like every rock was the size of like a bathtub, and it was like just a whole village of them, and like there would be nice temple like, and stuff. Like I knew there was a nice temple in Dream, and they were just there. It looked like they had just got there, and they were in New Zealand. And then the dream ended. So and the dream, I like I knew it was before the Māori people came there. So yeah, so what this dream was telling me was that apparently the Knights Templar went to New Zealand before anyone else did. Like the Knights Templar, they went to New Zealand before the other Europeans did, like Captain Cook and all that kind of stuff, and like the British people. So basically, they went to Europe to I'm in New Zealand before anyone else did. Now, when I was a dream, like a child, I really didn't understand the dream. It didn't make any sense to me because I was like, wait a minute, the Europeans went here in the 1800s, and the Knights Temple were here like the Middle Ages, 1200s, 1300s, and stuff. But then I did some research. I read The Hierarchy by Christopher Knight and Robert Lomas and stuff. And basically, it turns out the Knights Templar, they went to America before anyone else. You can find structures and Native American flags that look like the Knights Templar. And also, if you look at colonial history, there was actually a lot more places around New Zealand that were colonized um, beforehand than we realized. Like Australia was colonized in the 700s, 1700s, 1600s, I think. South America, Mexico was colonized by Spain in the 1500s or 1600s. Indonesia, which was the Dutch East Indies, which was colonized by the Dutch in the 1500s and 1600s. So plausibly, there could have been pre-European. There could have been other Europeans that went to New Zealand for the British in the Middle Ages. For example, the Knights Templar could have went. It's like they could have went. The Dutch could have went there. The Dutch actually did go there. The first person to ever visit New Zealand who was not a Māori person was a Dutch person called Abel Tasman. That was in the 1700s or 1600s slash 1500s. The British could have went there. Lots of different people could have went there. So yeah, there's plausible reason to think the Knights Templar could have went there earlier, especially if they went to Mexico or Yucatan or North America, because the Vikings they went to America before anyone else, and this was like before the Knights Templar even went, like 400 years before they went. Like Knights Templar would have went there 1200s, 1300s, but the Vikings went there like in the 800s, like 400 years before, like or 200 years. So it's like they described going down to a place that kind of seemed like Mexico and all that stuff. So yeah, basically what I'm saying is that this is actually more plausible than people realize. Like people think the Knight. If anyone doesn't know who the Knights Templar were, during the Crusades and Middle Ages, there was this order of people founded called the Knights Templar. They were made to apparently protect Christian pilgrims, but they really weren't. They were there because they went to Solomon's temple in the Middle East. They discovered something that they shouldn't have, and they became a secret society after that. And they controlled a lot of trade. They were basically the world's first multinational corporation. And if you look into it, they basically were the Freemasons. They're the Freemasons. They're the Illuminati. So they're the people who run our world right now. That they founded America. The Freemasons founded America. And I believe that Captain Cook and Abel Tasman and Christopher Columbus and all these like explorers, they were actually Freemasons and Knights Templars, Illuminatians. I think that's the real reason why Captain Cook went to New Zealand. I don't think he went to New Zealand to uh, to do astronomical stuff. Like he may have actually been there to do that, but I think the real reason was because he knew the Knights Templars lived down there and the Freemasons went down there. We were there and stuff, and he wanted to get into contact with him. So yeah, I fully believe the Knights Templar went to New Zealand before anyone else, and they were the first Europeans there. I think they went probably 1300s, 1400s, maybe 1500s when the Spanish did. It's kind of hard to say if I'm being honest, but yeah, I think they did that. So yeah, and I think the reason why the Treaty of Waitangi was signed was because the Māori tribes were Freemasons, Illuminati. They were working with Illuminati, and they were basically just both sides are being played by the Freemasons and Illuminati. Like, if you look in the Civil War, right, which by the way, that was inspiration for Star Wars, like Star Wars prequels, like CIS, Republic, whatever. If you look at it, there were Freemasons on both sides of the Civil War, of like the Confederacy and the Union, and both of them were actually like Freemasons, and they were probably working together, playing both sides, destroying America and all that. So yeah, it's like if you're a multi person or an Iwi member, don't get offended by like. I hope you don't get offended by what I say. I'm not saying there's anything wrong with multi people, or whatever, and all that. And I'm just saying that your Iwi might be Illuminati members. They might be working with you because think about it, right? There's like all these problems in your communities, like Mongrel Mob, Black Power, gangsters, like drug dealers, whatever. Yeah, these people don't want to help you out. Yet they want to tell random people what to do when they're trying to like work on their land. Like what? They have the power to tell random people what to do who are like not multi people. They don't have the power to help out your own community. Like what? But anyway, it's like so. Yes, I believe the Knights Templar, Illuminati, and Freemasons. They sued New Zealand before anyone else, and I believe that's why New Zealand was the testing place for what it is. If you look into it, the South Island has lots of elite bunkers. Like there's lots of bunkers in the South Island and stuff. And also the New Zealand government, when the lockdowns happened, they had the strictest lockdowns of the entire planet. It may not be a planet, the Earth could be flat. Like I personally think it might be flat, but anyway, it's like they locked down the entire planet. They were some of the first people to put the JAB there. They were really strict about those JAB laws, like the vaccine pass and all that. And also, they were the first people to test cashless money. Like we were the first people to do it. First country to have women vote. Like I don't think there's anything wrong with women voting, but like if there's so many things going on in New Zealand, there might be one thing going on. It's like another thing is that the British Empire, they held on to it. Like if you look into it, the Governor General does not actually work for the New Zealand government. He works for the King or the Queen. So we still technically are part of the British Empire, and I've heard someone else say we're owned by America. But yeah, the whole point is that like the Knights Templar, they steal New Zealand before anyone else, and that's what's going on, man. And yeah, I think that's why there's elite bunkers. And I think that when the New World Order happens and the Illuminati make a world government, I believe that New Zealand's going to put a prominent role in that. And I want to say, if you're a New Zealander, I think you should really consider moving out of New Zealand, moving somewhere else. I've considered fleeing New Zealand, and I've considered going to Ecuador or the USA. And there's another prophetic dream channel called World War Free Exodus Project, and he talks about like different places you can go, and he talks about how New Zealand's going to be punished, and I think that's why New Zealand's going to be punished because we're an Illuminati country, man. Like, I have nothing against New Zealanders or Americans. I think New Zealand's like I don't like New Zealand, but I don't think New Zealand's super bad. Like, I think people in New Zealand are cool. Like, lots of people are and stuff. And I want to say to Will Free, Exodus Project, I want to say to you, I think you had a different name. I want to say, yeah, I think this is the reason why New Zealand's going to get like screwed over and wrecked. And to End Time Dreams, I think so too. I think the Illuminati and the Freemasons, like they run things here. So yeah, the Knights Templar went to New Zealand. I want to say if you're a Māori person, especially a Māori person who's part of the iwi, please let please let me know if there's any evidence of the Knights Templar, like Europeans visiting New Zealand earlier than we've been told, because if anyone's gonna know, if anyone would know, it would be you guys. So if you're a Māori person or even a New Zealander and you kind of know anything, I just want to say, let me know. Please give me some information, and we can talk about it in the comments. And the World War III Exodus Project, same thing.